what I'm understanding too as well is that like we can kind of like press back a little bit, but like in the end all be all, is it even worth it? Is it gonna change anything?
Yes, you have to fight. You have to fight, man. Because I think if you don't, then you've lost. Right? If you don't think you can win, then you've lost. So you have
Agreed.
to, as annoying as it can be, you're gonna have like moments where you're just like, well, what's the freaking point, right? Like, you'll get those moments. But I think that one of the goals and one of the biggest tools in the arsenal of the tyrants who are pushing all this stuff is demoralization. They want you to think that you can't win, right? The people who are pushing this stuff, like they can't even do a pull-up. Right?
Facts. Thank you. I said that shit in my Instagram story. The people that talk the most shit about me cannot do a body weight pull-up, bro.
Right? So
they'll pull up a video of me talking shit, but they can't do a goddamn pull-up with their body weight, man.
Yeah, but
Thank you,
even
Zuby.
when I'm talking about the, those who people refer to as like the elites,
yeah,
I don't use that term. I'm literally looking at these people and their physiognomy and their like bodies. And I'm like, I'm not calling you an elite.
Exactly.
Right?
Facts.
You got man boobs and a beer belly. Like you're not an elite.
Facts.
Sure, maybe they have money and they have some influence or whatever. But the thing is, I think what we do, what you guys are doing, all of it is important. Waking people up and just getting people to know, yo, you've got individual power. You've got power. You've got liberty. You've got your rights. The government doesn't give you those. No person can fundamentally take that from you. That's God-given. And you self-empower people.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people who are just floating around and drifting around, especially a lot of young men, but even a lot of young women as well, just kind of floating around with no purpose, no meaning, feeling like, they don't have any control or autonomy over their lives. And, that's why people get obsessed with politics so much that they start treating it like a religion. And they think that, look, even if, there's no politician who's gonna truly make or break you, right? The best you can have is one who leaves you alone. This is actually why DeSantis is the best governor in the U.S. because he leaves you alone.
Shout out to Florida,
right? He's not coming. He's not building this for you.
Yeah,
he's not coming and like, oh, we're gonna like build your podcast and we're gonna get you involved in real estate and we're gonna go to the gym for you. And he's just like, no, like you've got liberty. Like I'm gonna trust you with your freedom. You do what you do. And he's just not, it's more what he's not doing than what he's doing that makes him the best. Why everyone else is shutting down, locking down, mask mandates, vast mandates, do this, do this.
Florida didn't give a shit, bro.
They're just like, you know what?
We had like a month or two and that was it.
Yeah.
Miami
had the most restrictive. We were the last city to open up because our mayor down here is fucking liberal. But the rest of Florida, they didn't care, bro. Orlando was open pretty much. Tampa, they didn't care.
Yeah, man. So I think it's important, man. And as much as there's still so many people sleepwalking, there's also so many millions of people who are like waking the heck up, man. So many people are waking up.
See, I agree, right? I think we should fight. However, how far too far? Because we saw what happens to Andrew, right? And I'm not gonna lie, bro, we're pissed as hell. We're super mad because this is like, I think uncalled for, it's unnecessary, and it's being pushed with the agenda. Yeah. However, what do you do? That's the thing. Like, what
honestly,
do you actually
man, I think you just keep doing. I mean, look, imagine if like more people did what we were doing on some scale or level. When I say that, I don't mean you have to become a social media influencer or have a podcast or whatever. I just mean just speak your mind.
Yeah.
Think critically.
Think critically. Get in shape. Get your money in order. Just get your freaking life together. And then you are strengthened against it, right? Like all of us have put ourselves in a position where even with the nonsense that's being thrown out there, you're in a much better position to deal with it. Whatever happens, right? Whatever happens, you're in an infinitely better position to deal with it than like 99% of the population because you've put yourself in that place.
Yeah.
You've got yourself cool. You've got a financial cushion. You've got a degree of independence and autonomy. You can't just have someone come along and fire you or whatever. You put yourself in good physical shape. You're not just like a slob who can't, imagine if you just had to run away from something. Can you do that? Or are you going to get eaten by a slow moving lion? You know what I mean? Like, I just think that the harder you make yourself to kill, the better.
Absolutely.
Right? You make yourself harder to kill.
It applies to all other facets
it applies to everything. And if you have a family, if you've got dependents, whatever it is, you strengthen that. And if everyone were to actually do that, the people who are trying to push all this nonsense, they'd have no power because you just have, it's why they couldn't really push it back in the day because the individual and family units were all just stronger and more cohesive and actually had some proper belief systems, so you couldn't just like knock them out of it to get people to believe in completely false artificial realities where you tell them that down is up and they're like, okay, down is up, and you tell them that red is blue and they're like, okay, well, red is blue, you know, the science said so. Like, no.
One thing,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say one thing. I've said this before, and it's sad that I had to say this, but like common sense is no longer fucking common. Dude.
No.
You know, if I take the average American now, you know, and ask him name 3 countries, or you know, what are your thoughts on XYZ topic, they're gonna give probably some BS regurgitated, politically correct SJW type narrative as to, you know, oh, this is what I think about the topic, but. People don't critically think anymore. If you say something along the lines of there are 2 genders, whoa, man, that's offensive. You're a bigot, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, listen, dude, the reality is if this person that identifies as 7 different genders died, right, but they were born with a penis when they were born, well, when archaeologists excavate that fucking body, they're going to say this was a male. They're not going to sit there and say this was a gender 93212, whatever the fuck people want to say, or he, she, him, blah. They're going to say this was a male. That's how it goes. But we live in a crazy world now where, like you said before, up is down, red is blue, and we go off of what people feel versus what's real.
Yes,
and it's just crazy, and people really lack critical thinking skills, and I blame the academia to a degree. I went to college in Boston. As you guys know, I went to Northeastern University. The clown world stuff was starting when I was in college.
Okay.
Right. So I could only imagine what it's like now. You know, I've talked with my brother. He was telling me it's just totally run by SJWs and feminists and weirdos.
I got a story for you guys.
And critical thinking is a whole other thing.
Yeah, I got a story for you guys.
Shoot,
I
man.
forgot to mention. I actually spoke at a university in Florida in November, and I got
Which school?
Stetson.
Where's that at?
Stetson University. It's about an hour outside Orlando.
It's in Orlando.
D-Land.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Mo knows where it's at.
I got protested for the first time.
Hey, Dr. Marco.
I experienced my first protest. Yeah, I got booked to speak at a college, and about 50 protesters showed up. Like explicitly for me.
Fucking
what?
Like
Shapiro effect.
Anti-Zuby protesters. I was like,
what? Wait, you?
Me. And it's
I'm not surprised, bro.
And it's even funnier because the people
He's the
who,
nicest guy I know on earth, bro.
It doesn't matter.
That's crazy.
Which of your points did they have issues with?
This is the funny part. They didn't really know.
Of course they don't know.
They didn't really know, right? They just.
I saw a clip about you, buddy.
Yeah,
A clip made me think this about you.
A lot of them came with like. A lot of them came with like rainbow flags and trans flags and like trans rights or human rights signs and trans lives matter signs, and I don't know. It was a lot of it was, you know, alphabet crew. I think maybe there were like 5 to 10 of them who had a particular grievance.
Okay.
And then the other like 30 or 40 were just kind of tagging along.
Yeah.
Because they just heard, there's a bad guy coming to campus. We don't know why he's bad.
That's
we don't
scary,
know what
bro.
he's.
That's scary.
It was interesting. And I'll tell you what, I think that at least half of them left probably feeling kind of stupid. Because you know me, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not actually a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Right? I've got my positions. I've got my beliefs. I'll say what is real and I'll say what I believe. But I don't think any honest person could like meet me or talk to me or listen to me talk and be like, oh, he's a hateful a-hole. He hates like this group. Like, no. So it was very like disarming to them because they came with all this energy and anger and all this and this, and it just made them look silly and hysterical. And even after my talk, I stayed for an extra 2 hours.
Yeah.
In the green room, mostly hanging out with like friends and fans and some of the people who helped to organize it.
Yeah.
But actually about 8 of the protesters, about 8 or 10 of them came in. Yeah, came in. And I invited them. I was like, come on. They were like, I was like, look, if you gotta, let's talk like humans, you know, like
Okay.
if what
What was their issue? Those 8 protesters.
So honestly, most of them thought that I believed things that I don't believe. So
what's fucking new with the left, man?
Yeah,
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's funny, because the thing with people like that is they don't understand that they think that if you disagree with them, it must be based in some type of hatred or animus, right? That's how they view. It's like a very juvenile worldview.
Yeah.
Where if you don't agree with them,
Yeah.
it's because you hate them,
Exactly.
or it's because you hate something. I'm like, dude, I don't hate anyone.
Yeah.
There's no hate. Like the person who had the Trans Lives Matter sign, I was like, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Then someone else had a Black Lives Matter sign. I was like, I agree with you too.
Yeah.
Someone had her sign saying trans rights are human rights. I'm like, yeah, trans people are humans. So yeah, they have human rights. And I support that.
Yeah.
If someone came in and attacked you guys, like I will be the first to defend you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like talking like rights. Right. I'm like, bro, like if you're a human, I support your rights.
Yeah.
Does that mean I think a woman can have a penis? No. Does that mean men can get pregnant? No.
Yeah.
Does that mean you can actually? No, it doesn't. But
does that mean you compete with women and when you're a dude?
Right, yeah,
no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but you're still a human being that deserves rights and privileges that everyone else enjoys.
Yeah, but because in their mind they've conjured up that you're this like hateful being, they're attacking this sort of figment of their imagination.
Facts.
But then it's cool. It was actually interesting because when they actually, you know, when you do have these conversations, sure, there's still like disagreements or whatever. But like, and I'm genuinely taking interest in them. I'm there, you know, like what are you studying? You know, like what's this? What's it? Like I'm taking genuine interest in them. So even if that's the best thing, like if someone comes at you with this hostility.